FAQ question number 1. Has the Modi government made an announcement on using Bharat instead of India? Joining me live, Mausami Singh and Poulomi Saha for more on this. Poulomi, can you help us answer this question for our viewers? We've got the Rashtrapati Bhavan invitation. You know, we've got the RSS chief talking about it. We've got a whole galaxy of politicians, including Himanta Biswa Sarma, etc., all, you know, making political comments about it. But is there anything official about it yet?
No, there is nothing official that the government has announced at the moment. The government is only, of course, when we spoke to, for instance, the Minister of State for External Affairs and Culture, Meenakshi Lekhi as well. She said that it only shows the invitation that has gone out from Rashtrapati Bhavan. It only shows that we're, going back into our heritage, into our history, into our legacy, and are calling ourselves what we've always known ourselves to be. It's only reclaiming some of our lost history. It doesn't mean one is replacing the other in any fashion. At least that has not been officially announced by the government of India at the moment. Of course, there have been a lot of statements that have been, referred to because of the opposition, basically saying that this is a government which is fearful of the India alliance and its name. There are statements, of course. The Prime Minister has spoken about sharing colonial baggage in the past. Mohan Bhagwat's statement from 3 days ago is being referred to as well. But the government's response is, so what's so disconcerting about that?
Okay, very interesting. So it's no official, announcement has been made by the government. Mausami, anything you're picking up in this regard? You know, is this a storm in a teacup? Because the government has made no announcement yet.
You know, I think this is in queue with all the speculations that are rife, Shiv, as far as the upcoming special session of the parliament is concerned. And they may say that there is no smoke without fire, but there is no fire in this case. Clearly, this is more of a political slugfest that has erupted, and more to fan this fire and add fuel to the fire is the opposition itself, because it was Jairam Ramesh in the beginning, in the morning, who raked up this entire controversy by tweeting it out that perhaps India, that was Bharat, and he put out that tweet with the mention of the invite. So I think this is more about, keeping India, as far as the alliance is concerned, keeping the discourse alive, and it suits both sides in the run-up to the 2024 elections.
Very, very interesting. Stay with me, Poulomi and Mausami. Now I want to go to Bharat FAQ number 2. The question number 2 that I've been getting since the story broke on India Today is, okay, no official announcement by the government so far, but does the government plan to make an official announcement, or is there something in the works? Is there some plan to rename India to Bharat? Poulomi, a lot of speculation about the special session of parliament that, some kind of resolution, etc. may be passed. We don't know. Is there something afoot?
Well, Shiv, we've been trying to speak to our sources across the political circles, especially, of course, in government itself, to understand if there is a resolution. While no one is officially confirming it, one of the things, refrains that I picked up from someone I was speaking to is very interesting. He referred to the fact that on September 18, 1949, the Constituent Assembly, when it was debating the draft constitution at that point of time, and specifically Article 1, and there were many who stood up like H.V. Kamath and others, who objected to the reference of India, that is Bharat, said, you'll have to say Bharat, that is also known in English as India, or Bharat Varsh, or Hind. All of these debates happened, these possible amendments were moved, but then finally the motion was adopted as it had been drafted by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, which is India, that is Bharat. The date, September 18, 1947. When does the government call for the special session of Parliament? September 18, 2023. So that has, of course, set off a lot of discussion as to whether the special session is about reclaiming history.
Okay, the dates have added a tantalizing angle and element to the whole this storm of speculation. I'm going to come, Poulomi and Mausami are going to stay with me. When I go back to them in a couple of questions from now. But question number 3, FAQ question number 3 now is, a more theoretical question, which is, how can the name of a country be changed? How can the name of our country be changed? What does the, what is the actual procedure for this kind of thing? Now, Article 1 of the Constitution will have to be amended. The centre will have to bring in a bill in Parliament. Article 368, which allows for the Constitution to be amended either through a simple majority, that's over 50% members, or a special majority amendment, that is 66 members. Article 1, which is where it says India, that is Bharat, will have to be amended by a special majority of not less than 2/3 of members present and voting in the House. So it's a complicated procedure. The Constitution will have to be amended. And remember, the Constitution, Article 1, the first line of it says India, that is Bharat. So both India and Bharat both exist there. Now, what does the Indian Constitution say? What does the Indian Constitution say about, India and Bharat? Let's tell you. India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states is the first line of Article 1 of the Constitution. As you can see in that line, both India and Bharat, both are there in that same line. That's the first line. Article 1 says precisely that. Now let's go to question number 4 of our FAQ on Bharat. Why is Bharat suddenly popping up now in official invitations? Mausami, I want to come to you now, because this has become more of a political story than anything else, even though citizens across the board are very curious and they've been, asking questions. I'm sure you've been getting questions from your friends and relatives also, ki, is it really going to change, etc. But the question of why is Bharat suddenly popping up in invitations, political mind games being played?
Absolutely, Shiv. Often we talk about the divide between India and Bharat, the ever-widening gap between India and Bharat being represented by the rural part of India, but that is in normal discourse, and even when this term for the India Alliance was being coined, that we need to choose India and we can have every letter representing something, there was discussion, should we have a Hindi slogan to it, should it be Bharat, and therefore this was more acceptable across from north to south to the southern parties, that it should be termed as India. And in fact, the battle will then be between India versus Modi. So somewhere, there was this thing that you were adopting the name of the country and how would Prime Minister Narendra Modi fight the nation. But they were conscious of that fact that BJP might try to play into the fact that it is India, Bharat, and that's why they adopted this slogan, Judega Bharat, Jeetega India. So somewhere they expect that the BJP's line of attack is very clear and defined, and they will try to in fact bridge that gap, in fact, right. The opposition members. But as you said, this is more of a political pot boiler that either sides want to keep stirring.
So, because is 2024, politically speaking, being crafted as an India versus Bharat kind of battle is what Mausami suggests. And that's something that the India Alliance has clearly foreseen with Judega Bharat, Jeetega India being their tagline. Question number 5 in our FAQ today, to try and settle all your doubts, is will India and Bharat be used interchangeably? Now, this is a bit of a rhetorical question. Poulomi, coming to you on that, because India and Bharat have actually, been used interchangeably for a long time, haven't they? Including in official documentation. In Hindi, it is Bharat. Bharat has been used interchangeably with India for a very long time. Of course, going into the specifics of things like President of India, etc., there are questions. That's the reason why it's become a headline. But the interchangeability of India and Bharat has existed, hasn't it, Poulomi?
It has, of course, existed for a very, very long time now. It's in the Constitution. It's in Article 1, India, that is Bharat. And hence, we've used it interchangeably, as Mamata Banerjee was trying to put it very simplistically, that we've always referred to ourselves as people of Bharat Varsh. We are citizens of Bharat. But when it comes to India, that's obviously the English language term that we've used globally as well. So we've used it interchangeably. But what the BJP is thinking on this is simply that you give one precedence over the other. So even globally and internationally, we do want to be known by what is our historic name, what is actually the name from our ancestors who, perceived this nation the way they wanted to call it. They wanted to call it Bharat. It's in our Vedic scriptures. It's in our mythology. It goes back many, many years. Again, the reference India, it's not British colonialist. It is, there are references made by the Greeks as well. There are references made by the Turks as well. But again, all on the lines of India. All of these are terminologies that have, come from Europe as far as reference to our nation is concerned. What the BJP is simply saying is that we want to give one precedence over the other. So we refer to ourselves as Bharat. The world can refer to us interchangeably, but we should be able to proudly call ourselves Bharatvasis.
Very, very interesting. I want to stay with me, both Poulomi and Mosmi. I want to just, bring up some information now about how the name of our country actually came about. Let's just give you some perspective about India and Bharat. The date, September 18th, 1949, and as you heard Poulomi saying, that has become a trigger as well because the special session of Parliament also begins on September the 18th. That is September 18th, 1949 is when the Constituent Assembly deliberated upon the Namkaran of India, the naming of India, which was freshly independent. Suggestions at that time had included Bharat, Hindustan, Hind, Bharat Bhumi, Bharat Varsh and Bharat. The Constituent Assembly resolved that Article 1, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. So it was September the 18th, 1949 that the name India, that is Bharat, was enshrined in our constitution. In our constitution. Your obvious next question will be, what happened in the Constituent Assembly? The process by which India and Bharat became our official names. The first article was read out as, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states, like I just said. Hari Vishnu Kamath of the Forward Bloc, politician of that time, suggested Bharat, or in the English language, India, shall be such and such. That was the line that was proposed by him. Seth Govindas, representing the central provinces, and Berar proposed Bharat, known as India, also in foreign countries. Very interesting. Hargovind Pant, well-known politician representing the United Provinces, said, as far as India is concerned, this name was given to our country by foreigners. If we cling to the word India, it would only show that we are not ashamed of having this insulting word which has been imposed on us by alien rulers. This was the Constituent Assembly of the time, and as you can see, this was a fledgling democracy with vibrant, noisy voices making angry opinions felt. At the end of the day, what was decided? India, that is Bharat, is a union of states. Now, I want to flash forward now. I've taken you in a flashback to 1949. Now I want to bring you to 2016 because India and Bharat did come up in India's top court, the Supreme Court. In 2016, Bharat or India. Here's what the Supreme Court had said. You want to call it Bharat? Go right ahead. Someone wants to call it India? Let them call it India, said Justice Thakur of the Supreme Court. In 2020, the Supreme Court said, Bharat and India are both names given in the Constitution. India is already called Bharat in the Constitution. At that time, the Chief Justice of India was S.A. Bobde. So the Supreme Court on 2016 and 2020, both times said, India and Bharat can both be used. Use whatever you want because they're both literally in the Constitution. Now, final question, and this is something that a lot of people have reached out to me asking, which is that, do I need to be prepared as a citizen? Do I need to gird my loins and, wonder whether a decision to either rename or something like that is going to upturn my life? Is my life going to turn upside down? Will I need to re-register for new documents? Will I have to, expect a completely new set of identification cards, etc., in keeping with the change of a country's name? So a lot of people are anxious about this, and I want to get one answer from both our reporters on that. Poulomi, to you first. It may be a little early. We don't know what's going to happen in Parliament. The 18th September angle does provide quite a trigger point for many, especially after we've mentioned it today. But most people are wondering, is this going to affect my life? Is this going to turn my life upside down if the name of the country changes? What about my passport? What about my IDs? What about my bank account, etc., etc.? Is there any wisdom or light you can throw on that, Poulomi?
Well, if this means that documentation has to be changed, like, for instance, passport gets changed, etc., then obviously it's going to throw life a little off gear, because you'll have to go ahead and make that change. But I don't think so. The government, of course, is planning to, upend everyone's lives at the moment. The government is only merely, saying that this is what needs to be said in the constitution. We need to ensure that, people refer to themselves as Bharat, because we need to be proud of who our ancestors called us, and not about, whether outsiders called us one or the other. And that is what the government wants to focus on. And at the moment, it is an idea which they've mooted in small ways. For instance, they're hosting the top 20 leaders of the world at the G20 Leaders Summit this weekend at the Bharat Mandapam. The government is very clear that they want to send out a message that we're extremely proud of our legacy and our history, and we refer to ourselves as Bharat. How far they're going to take this is only something which will, of course, take place quite literally on paper over a period of time. Nothing that's going to throw your life out of gear immediately.
Okay, that's good to hear. So I'm going to leave it at that. Mosmi and Poulomi, appreciate it. Thanks for joining me on this live show to help answer those questions, bust some of those myths. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of misinformation and fake news doing the rounds as well. Very, very useful. And I'll be sure that a copy of this show goes into all the WhatsApp groups today, where people have been asking the very same questions that you both have so kindly and brilliantly answered. Thank you very much to Poulomi and Mosmi.